Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Do you remember me? I wouldn't blame me if you don't. Yeah, I haven't posted on here in forever. Life just got kind of crazy for a while. I see people all the time on YouTube like, oh my god, I haven't been on here in ages, and it's been like a week. I'm looking at my channel like, yeah, it's been like a year for me. But yeah, basically last year was a hectic year, and now this year is a different kind of a year. I'm sure you all know what I mean. It's like crazy, but at the same time, nothing is going on. So I was like, okay, I really need to get my butt in gear and film some videos. And I had a cool idea, well, my husband had a cool idea, to do a video for brides who, in this situation that's going on, will be doing their own bridal makeup. If you don't know, I am a bridal makeup artist, but I also got married last year and I did my own makeup, so I have experience on both ends. And the more I thought about it, the more excited I was to film. So I had the idea to do a little mini series. So part one, which is this part, is going to be basically just talking through bridal makeup, just my overall tips, and also breaking down like your options for your makeup look. I know some people get kind of overwhelmed with like what kind of makeup look to choose for themselves and what the options are. So that is what we're going to be talking about in this video, and then in the next two parts I'm going to do two different tutorials for two different types of bridal makeup looks. So yeah, I hope if you are a bride that this is helpful for you. If you have any questions at any stage, please feel free to leave them in the comments, or you can pop over to Instagram and shoot me a DM at ChristineMUA. I will be happy to help you in any way I can. And if you're not a bride, then I hope you just find this interesting. And the next tutorials, while they're obviously aimed at like bridal makeup, you can do them for whatever you want. So there will be two tutorials coming, one of which is this look right here. So yeah, I hope you enjoy, and let's get started. I'm really excited. So I thought we would start by breaking down the makeup and what your options are for your look. And even if you're not doing your makeup yourself, if you have a makeup artist doing it for you, this could be helpful for you if you're still trying to figure out what kind of a look you want, so that when you go to your trial and your artist asks you what kind of look you'd like, you'll have some answers and some ideas. So just starting with skin, if you're not aware of like what kind of skin type you have, it's a good idea to start paying attention to your skin and trying to figure that out. So like noticing if you get shiny throughout the day, or if your skin feels at all tight. Because once you're familiar with your skin type, you'll have a better idea of what kind of makeup products are going to work well on you and last on you. So if you do notice that you're getting shiny throughout the day, you're probably more of an oily skin type. You mightn't be oily all over, you might just be oily in the T-zone and more normal elsewhere. You don't have to be like just one skin type, you could have combination skin. But if that's the case, you might want to keep that in mind with your makeup, that you might want to go more oil controlling and mattifying in your skin, and also in how you're treating your skin in the run up to the wedding, that you're not using anything too stripping that's taking all the oils out, or that you're not like skipping moisturizer, because that can actually have the opposite effect. If your skin isn't getting enough moisture, it can try and counteract that with producing more oil. And by doing those things, you could actually lead your skin to becoming dehydrated, which is different from dry. When you have a dry skin type, your skin is lacking its natural oils, whereas when you're dehydrated, it's lacking water. And obviously oil and water are two very different things. So you can have oily skin and dehydrated skin at the same time. And if that's the case, you want to make sure that you're upping your water intake, that you're using water-based like moisturizers and products on your skin, and that you're exfoliating to get rid of any dry, dead skin cells on the top. And then on the reverse, if you feel like you're dry and quite tight and that your skin really craves moisturizers and creams, then you probably are a dry skin type, and you want to make sure that you're nourishing your skin. So for example, like overnight oils are really lovely for dry skin type to really nourish it and give it that extra boost of oil that it's lacking. But in general, regardless of your skin type, I would say to drink plenty of water to keep your skin as hydrated and as clear as possible for your day, and also to exfoliate weekly or twice weekly depending on your skin type, to keep the texture of it nice and smooth, so that your makeup will sit on it really nicely. So on to the makeup. So we'll start with the face. Your face primer is going to be related to your skin type and what your skin concerns are. So for example, you might want a moisturizing primer if you're dry, you might want a mattifying primer if you're oily. You can also get color correcting primers if you have redness, or smoothing primers if you have large pores and fine lines. So when it comes to your face primer, you want to think about what you want from it for your skin. For your foundation, you want to think about number one, what kind of coverage you want. If you want something that's sheer, that really is most of your natural skin coming through, just a little bit perfected. If you want medium, where some of your natural skin is showing through, or if you want full, where it's basically fully covering your skin. And you also want to think of what kind of a finish you want, whether that's matte a semi-matte, or dewy. So just generally speaking, like oily skin types are probably going to want something more matte because their natural oils are going to come through throughout the day, whereas dry skin types might want something more dewy and moisturizing. But that's just speaking generally. Like you might have a dry skin type but still really like the matte look. So you definitely want to make sure that you're prepping your skin well with a good moisturizer, and then maybe a nice moisturizing primer as well, so that it's not all too much. And similarly, you could have oily skin but you could still really like the dewy look, and again you just want to make sure you're prepping with a nice mattifying primer so that it doesn't all become too much dew and too much shine, and also having a powder on hand to be able to touch up if and when it does. And then obviously for the colour of it, you want it to be as good a match as you can get to your natural skin tone or your tan that you're going to be wearing. So the next big one is eyeshadow, and for brides I would tend to stick within the neutral range, but you can then play around with the depth of it, the undertones and the texture. So the depth would be like how dark you want the eyeshadow, if you want like a smoky glam eyeshadow look, if you want something with a little bit of definition, or if you want something more soft and bright and awake looking. The undertones then is what kind of neutral colours you'll be going for. And if you're not sure, what I'll often ask a bride is what colour jewellery they'll be wearing. If it's like silver or white gold, I'd probably go with cool tones. So these would be like browns that have no red in them, taupes and shimmers that might lean more silver. Whereas if she's going to be wearing gold jewellery, then I'll probably go with warm tones, which would be browns that do have that touch of red about them, peaches and shimmers that lean more gold. And the reason I would stick to neutrals is just to keep it more classic and timeless for your photos, which are going to be probably on your wall for the rest of your life. But you could also incorporate a touch of a soft colour to either pick up on your wedding theme or to like pop your eye colour. So for example, like a mauve used as a transition colour, which would be the shade that like blends out the edges of the browns, that would pop a green eye colour. So even within that you can incorporate like little hints of colour too. And then the texture is really whether you want shimmer on the eye or not. So an all matte eye look, which would be something that has no shimmer at all, is very classic and chic looking. But you could also do like a mostly matte look with just a little pop of shimmer maybe in the inner corner, which is actually what we do in the first tutorial in this series. And then you could also do shimmer shades on the lid, which is what I have on today, and that just gives more texture to the look and it makes the look a little bit more detailed. So yeah, for the eyeshadow you can think about the depth, the undertones and the textures. So sticking with the eyes, we'll talk about liner. So liner really defines and enhances your eyes. It's literally outlining your eyes, and you have a few choices of how subtle or strong you make that. So the most natural option would be to have your top lash line lined with a bit of brown or black eyeshadow, with brown being more natural. Again, in the first tutorial we do just a black shadow liner, and what's great about this is that it gives the darkness and the depth without the severity of a harsh line. So this is really nice for a more natural eye. And it's also actually really popular for mother of the brides to give their eyes definition for photos, but they mightn't want like a liquid liner or whatever. But yeah, that's just a side note. So you can also then opt for like a liquid or a gel, which will give you a stronger and a darker liner look, and a gel would probably be the most popular option that I would do on brides. And then if you really want to amp up the smokiness and the darkness of your eyes, you can add a dark liner into your waterline, and that can really transform the look. But it can also make your eyes look smaller. So if you already have small eyes and you generally want to make them look bigger, you might want to avoid that, but you can still have smokiness under the eye on the lash line. So like along your lower lashes, like I have today, shadow along my lower lashes. I don't have any liner in my waterline, and by doing that and leaving your waterline free of liner or popping like a cream coloured liner there, that'll actually make your eyes look bigger and more open. So yeah, you can think about the liner you want on top and what you want on the bottom if you want liner on your waterline or just shadow underneath. So then finishing up with the eyes, we'll just talk about lashes. So generally my go-to recommendation for brides are individual clusters, and the reasons being is that they're that bit more natural, they're more comfortable for a long day, and they won't lift. However, if you are doing your own makeup, they can be harder to do than a strip, I think. Now I have met people who have said that they find it way easier than doing a strip on themselves. So if you haven't tried them before, I would recommend maybe picking up a pack and seeing how you get on with applying them, because you might find them easier and you might prefer them for the long day of the wedding. And then again, generally speaking, I would go for the strip if you're going for a slightly stronger look or a slightly more glam look, or if you always wear strip lashes when you're going out or for a special occasion and that's what you're used to having on. And if you are used to wearing them, you're probably used to looking after them and minding them when they're on you. But if not, just be aware that there is a chance that they could lift generally at the corners, especially if there is a few tears during the day, or maybe like with a lot of wind, if you're taking like some outdoor photographs. So you just want to have a little lash glue in your bag or in your maid of honours bag or wherever, so that you can stick it back down if you need to. That being said, I wore strips on my day because I always wear strips when I'm going out. I never do individuals on myself. And mine were perfect all day long, and I did have a few tears at the speeches. So it's not to say that if you're going to be wearing strips that they will lift. They mightn't budge at all for you throughout the day, but just in case they do lift, you don't want to be having like a lash hanging off your eye. So just have a lash glue at the ready just in case. And then another option that you have, if you find both individuals and strips difficult to put on, what you might find easier is doing a half lash or a corner lash, which is essentially a half of a strip lash that goes on the outer half or outer corner of your eye. And personally, I think they're super easy to put on, and that's how I first taught myself to apply strip lashes. I couldn't do normal ones, and then I got a pair of half lashes and they were way easier, and once I got the hang of those, I was able to start doing the full strips. But the reason they're easier is because with the full strip you have to do a little bit of bending and sticking the corners down. It has to bend around your eye shape. Whereas with the half lash, it doesn't have to bend around your eye shape, it's just sticking on one half. So it's only curving like ever so slightly, if that makes sense. So it's less like fiddling with corners and more just like sticking down. So I would definitely recommend those for ease of application if you're doing it yourself. And then just regarding style of lashes, you can think of whether you want something that's going to have more length and not too thick, or if you want something that's just going to give you more volume and you don't want it too long. It also depends on the amount of eye space that you have. If you have a small amount of space between, let's say, your lash line and your brow, you might be able to take a very long lash because it'll basically be like up to your eyebrows. Whereas if you have a bit more space, like me, I can take a longer lash without it touching my brows. So you can keep in mind the length and the thickness of your lashes, whether that's individuals or strips, when you're choosing what kind of style you want. So for brows then, it does depend on what kind of brows you already have. If they need a lot of filling in, if you don't want much filling in, how dark you want them, all that. But you can use different kind of products and brushes and use them in different ways to get a different effect. So you can just have a think about how natural or how defined you want them for the day. And I do already have a video on how to get different effects for your brows, and I'll insert that video up here for you. So then just moving on to cheek products. So basically when you're looking at pictures online, like on Pinterest or Instagram, you can start to have a look at the kind of face makeup that appeals to you, whether there's a lot of contouring, whether it's just more blushy or like a really glowy highlight, or just a little bit of everything. And like that goes for every aspect that we're talking about too. You can start to think about that when you're looking at different makeup pictures that you like and picking up on what exactly it is that you like about those pictures and those makeups. But yeah, so for cheeks, the things to think about would be bronzer, contour, blush and highlight. So the kind of colors that you like for those, like generally with blush, what I do is kind of tie it in with the undertones of the eye. So if I'm going cool tones on the eye, I'd probably go more cool toned on the cheek and lip, which would be kind of more pinks and stuff. And then if I'm doing a warm toned eye, I'll probably do more warm tones on the blush and the lip, so like more peachy tones, that kind of thing. So you can tie it into like the undertones of your eye, but you do want to look at how strong you want all of those things, and also the texture of, like, say, your blush or your bronzer, if you want something like with a little bit of sheen in it, or if you want things that are totally matte. So then for the lips, if you want your eyes to be the feature of the look, I would opt for a more natural colour for the lips. So more of a nudie colour, but like a nude doesn't have to mean totally blank. You can have a pinky nude, a peachy nude, a brownie nude. Again, it's all about the undertones, and you can even have like a deeper nude, but it's basically just referring to a more natural colour on the lip. And that probably would be the most popular option for brides. Number one, because I find that most brides do want their eyes to be the feature of the look. And also a natural colour lip takes less maintenance for a long day like a wedding. But if you do want your lips to be the feature of the look, so if you're going for like a red or burgundy, I would probably opt for a matte liquid lipstick. They tend to be the best for long wearing, and they tend not to transfer as much when you're going to be kissing your new husband or your new wife. So with a bright colour or a dark colour on the lip, you will just want to keep in mind that you'll probably want to keep an eye on the lipstick throughout the day and have one to hand to touch up with, because it is a long day and you're going to be eating and drinking and talking to people all day long, and if you get like a smudge of red, it's going to be quite obvious. So that's just something to keep in mind. So that is the breakdown of the makeup, to give you an idea of some options for your look and to what to keep in mind when you're looking at pictures, as I say, on Pinterest or on Instagram. And it might help you to see like maybe a common thread throughout the pictures that you're liking, even if they initially look quite different. You might be able to see that they're all quite dewy or quite matte or warm tones, and figure out what it is that appeals to you. So that's the look itself. And then just in general, I just wanted to give some tips as I say, as a bridal makeup artist and as someone who did their own wedding makeup last year. So the first tip that I give to brides all the time is that you want to look and feel like your best self. And that can mean different things for different people. Some brides will want to keep more natural with their makeup because they feel like more like themselves without too much makeup on. Whereas some people wear makeup all the time and they get really done up for special occasions, and they wouldn't feel done up without a nice bit of makeup on. Because I know, like, as a makeup artist, I've had a number of brides say to me, like, I really want a nice smoky eye because I like getting all glam and done up, but I know I have to go natural because I'm a bride, and everyone says like I have to do a natural look, and there's nothing that you have to do. So there's no rules when it comes to makeup. Like, even with the tips that I was just giving and that I am giving, they're really just guidelines to help you find what feels right for you and to give you things to think about if you're unsure. But at the end of the day, like everything with your wedding, it's your wedding day and you have to be happy with it and have to be comfortable in it. It's going to be on your face, it's going to be in your pictures, so you have to be the one that's happy with it. So for example, for me on my wedding, I went a little bit more glam. I went very similar to this, both with a heavier lash, and they were the lashes that were like my go-to for a special occasion or for going for a night out. And I was totally happy with them. I trialed things like for my hen nights out, or like my bachelorette nights out, depending on where you're from. But I even found myself on the day, I was saying to my maid of honor, I was like, do you think these lashes are too much for the wedding? And even she was saying, no, they're what you would wear on a night out, on a special occasion when you're done up. So even for me, even though I have reassured loads of brides that like it's whatever you want, whatever you feel best in, I still needed that little bit of reassurance on the day, because there is that little bit of pressure of like doing things the right way. But aside from that little moment with the lashes, I was fairly confident to have my own style of things. So for example, like with earrings, if you know me at all, whenever I'm getting done up, I wear hoops, I wear big hoops. That's just what I like, that's just what I feel best in and feel most me in. And coming up to the wedding, I was having this little deliberation about what I do for earrings because I just love hoops. But also at the same time, I didn't want anything too big or too ostentatious or whatever. But what I settled on was just doing a smaller hoop, but for some people it would probably be a bigger hoop, or generally speaking, it's more of like a medium hoop. But I actually wore, I'll show you them there. So as I say, they could be quite big for some people for especially for a wedding day, but for me that was quite small and demure as opposed to like my big basketball hoops that I'm normally wearing. So these were the actual hoops that I wore on the wedding day. But coming up to the day, when I was thinking about what I was doing, I was like looking up, I think I was like googling brides wearing hoop earrings, and I was getting like small little dainty hoops, and I literally didn't see any brides wearing even any hoops that size, but that's what I wanted, and I was totally happy that I did it because I felt like me and I looked like me. Or like it was kind of similar with my hair. I knew I wanted half up, half down, but the half up, half downs that I was seeing, at least at the time last year, 99% of them were like pulled back, but pulled back low and then more height in the crown up here. Whereas what I wanted was to have the hair pulled up high and to have more height in the actual kind of pony bit. And I was drawing on inspiration from one specific picture, and I don't think it was a bridal hair look. But even though I hadn't seen brides with that kind of hair, I knew straight away that's what I wanted. So if you know in your gut and in your instinct, like that's really what I want, and if other people are telling you, well, you really should be doing this, just go with what you want. It's your day. It's going to be once in a lifetime, hopefully anyway. So just make sure that you're doing things the way you want to do them and that you feel like your best self, whatever that means for you. Another tip that I have written down, that's kind of about the look itself, for like if you're totally lost and don't know where to start with a makeup look, is to look back at your favorite pictures of yourself or where you particularly really liked your makeup, and you can try and recreate that as like a starting point. Like I know for me, when I first started thinking about doing my wedding makeup, especially because I do all different kinds of makeup on myself, I was scrolling back through my Instagram trying to see which ones were my favourite on myself and which pictures I really liked of myself. And there were a couple that stood out to me as just, oh, I really liked my makeup in those pictures or on that day. And I used that as a starting point and then thought about each aspect and what I wanted for my wedding day. So then you can also look for extra inspiration, like I was saying earlier, on Instagram or Pinterest. And you can think about exactly what it is you like about the makeup, and you can try to incorporate those elements into your own makeup. But I would say don't be discouraged if it doesn't work on you, because different things look very different on different like face shapes and eye shapes and colorings. But you can definitely look for inspiration online and have a play around with those ideas. My next tip is to do at least one trial. If you are doing your own makeup, the benefit is that you can do as many trials as you want. So like your first and second trial might be you nailing down the kind of look that you want to do and the products that you want to use. And then from then on, you could maybe keep the products that you've chosen in a makeup bag and use them all the time and really get to know them and how they work and just get all that extra practice in for the day. And then I would just say as well, when you're practicing, take note of how long it's taking you without rushing, so that you know how long to allow yourself on the day realistically for you to like take your time and get it done the way you want it. And then if you are planning to wear tan on the day, make sure you're wearing your tan for at least your first and maybe second trial, so that you can make sure that you're choosing like the correct shades of your foundation, but also so that you can see what the overall look looks like with a tan, because colours will look different against like a paler skin tone or a more tan skin tone. So definitely keep that in mind as well. And then extra tips for getting like the full vision when you're trialing your makeup would be to wear your hair in a similar way to what you're planning. So whether that's all down or all up off your face or like half up, half down. And also wearing a white top or like just popping on a white top after you have your makeup on, just to have white against it so you can just see how strong it looks against white or cream or whatever colour it is you are wearing. But just getting that similar colour and getting like a similar hairstyle will help give you the whole kind of vision. In general, as I said, for your skin, drink plenty of water and exfoliate in the months leading up to it. I would say don't try any new skincare coming up too soon, just in case you get a reaction or your skin starts to purge out. So if you need to start a new skincare routine, you'd want to be doing that a few months out, or just as soon as possible to make sure that your skin is happy with it. And then on the day, unless you're super dry and your skin just drinks up like creams and moisturizers and stuff, I would say to go for a lighter moisturizer, just to make sure that it's not going to disrupt your foundation, or as I say, unless you've trialed it already and you know that your foundation works well with this moisturizer. But just in general, it's something that's not going to leave like a residue on your skin before you put on your foundation that would start breaking it down. And then just in terms of like timing and stuff, I would aim to have all the hair and makeup done and dusted about an hour before you're planning to leave. That's the way like I arrange timing when I'm doing a bride's makeup. I ask when they're aiming to leave and then I work back with like the amount of faces that I'm doing. And the reason for this is that it gives you time then to get dressed, to touch up any hair and makeup, and then have some pictures taken before you go for your ceremony. And then just one thing, if you aren't doing your makeup yourself, if you have a makeup artist doing it, they'll tell you themselves, but ordinarily the bride will go in the middle, so not first or last. And even though your artist will probably work in a similar way, just sometimes brides are expecting to be last. Sometimes they'll say, oh, I presume I'll go last so that it's the freshest before I go to the door. But realistically, you don't want that. Number one, because the later the morning goes on, the busier things get. There's more people around, there's people asking you questions, there's people trying to get pictures. And while the start of the morning can always seem very chill and very calm, things can start to get a lot busier as the morning goes on. And as the bride, you're the last person that you want to have your makeup in any way rushed or to be like interrupted a lot during it. And the other reason I wouldn't want a bride to go last is if anything is going to happen with the makeup, if something is going to crease or if something is going to move, even though it would have been trialed already, just on the day, if there anything is going to happen with the makeup, that there's time for me then to touch it up or to amend it or whatever it is, rather than having your makeup done last and then as you're going out to go to your ceremony realizing you actually need an extra bit of powder, or realizing your lash actually needs an extra bit of glue because it's starting to lift. And similarly, for those reasons, if you are doing your own makeup, try not to time it so that you're finishing your makeup and then you're getting into your dress. So try to start it earlier rather than later. It can always be topped up, but it's not so easy to speed up when you're doing it. And trust me, I know from experience, like I have had so much experience as the makeup artist and making sure that timing is correct and that they're ready in plenty of time to get dressed and all that. But then when it came to my own day, I think because I did start it a bit earlier, I knew I had plenty of time and I was doing it in bits and pieces. I was taking breaks and like that. It is very different when you're the bride, because you are kind of the center of things and everything that's going on has to do with you and people are asking you things and showing you things. So again, that's why you need to allot yourself way more time than you think, trust me. And then one more thing that I'll say about when you do your makeup, if you're going to be exchanging gifts with your partner on the morning, I would say to try and do that before you start your makeup, because quite often at that stage there are a few tears. So that's something that often comes up with brides if they have a gift to open from their partner. I'll often say do that first before we start our makeup, just in case, so that we can get those tears out of the way and then do the makeup. And it's not the end of the world if there are tears after your makeup. You know, like tears don't just melt makeup, it's not going to just start falling off your face. Like it has happened where the brides have done the gifts after their makeup and there has been tears. And it's totally fine. Like I did even have one bride who, bless her heart, was absolutely bawling her heart out. And she came back to me after and she was saying, I'm so sorry, the makeup was probably completely gone off my face, you'll have to probably start again. And it was literally like the tiniest little touch up here and there. It was perfect. And it also depends on like how you're crying. If like you're wiping your face, you are going to be wiping the makeup, but if you're just dabbing and whatever, then it's fine. But yeah, like tears aren't going to completely ruin your whole face, but at the same time, if you can organize them, if you can do your gifts first. I had done that with my day. We were exchanging small gifts but letters with them. So I sent over a gift for him and a letter that I had written him the night before, and vice versa. He sent it over to me, and it just happened that he had also written his the night before. And then on the morning we read the letters and we read them out loud for the video. And initially the videographers and the photographers had actually said to me, look, we're going to go over to his house first and then we'll be over to you for the morning. And at first I was like, yeah, cool, that sounds good. And then I thought about it and I actually just said, no, would you mind just coming to me first? And me and my fiance at the time live literally like 3 minutes apart. So I just said, would you mind stopping into me first so I can do the gifts, get all my tears out the way, and then when they go to his house I could start my makeup then from then on. And I was so glad I did that because I did cry reading the letter, and I got those tears out of my system and I was ready to have my makeup on. So yeah, just something to think about, like if you know that's coming, you can kind of organise it that way. And then just something I thought about, if you and your bridesmaids and your mother and whoever is in your bridal party are all going to be doing your own makeup, and if you have a larger room that you can all be safely in together, getting ready together would be quite a cool thing to do, because that's quite different and quite unique, but it would also be really fun, and it would make for some really cool photos as well. But if you don't have like a large room that you can all get ready together in, or if like your bridesmaids or whoever are getting ready in their own houses for safety reasons, then you can totally just take like your makeup time as a chill time just for you on your wedding morning, which is quite special and quite unique again, because it actually doesn't happen for a lot of brides on their wedding morning. There's a lot of go, everyone's around. There's really no time that you just get on your own by yourself to have a little you time on your wedding morning. And yet a lot of brides could do with that little breather. A lot of the time, even just the time that they're sitting in the chair, even though there might be loads going on, that time that they're in the chair with me, maybe their eyes are closed and they're just relaxing, or they have a glass of bubbly in their hand, that's kind of the breather time. So you could also take it as like a really special chill out time on your wedding morning to have a glass of something, have your favorite music on, and just chill and enjoy your makeup. And so when you're doing your makeup, then something that I always do on myself and on clients is I do eyes first. And the reason I do this is so that if I get any fallout, or if I get like a little smudge of mascara or anything onto the cheeks, it doesn't matter. It can just be wiped away before I do the foundation. Because just personally for me, there's nothing more stressful or more annoying than having lovely clean foundation and then do my eyes and something falling down, like a little bit of black eyeshadow, or as I say, mascara, and it's like panic stations and having to do patchwork and stuff. I have heard people say who normally do their face first, when they do their eyes first, it takes them longer, but their eyes always come out way nicer. And I think that's also a little bit of it for me. For me, the eyes are always my favourite part to do, so I want to spend more time on getting them right. But you can try it out and see how you find it. Some people just can't get their head around it. They find it really hard to see where the look is going, and that's fine too. It's basically whichever is the most stress-free for you. I would just say if you're doing your base first, maybe wait until your eyes are done to powder your face, so that if anything does fall down, it'll be a little bit easier to fix up if your face isn't powdered yet. And then a tip that I often give to my brides, but it's probably going to be unnecessary to give in the times going on at the moment, is that if you want to help to maintain your hair and makeup, just to keep them in mind when people are like giving you hugs or embraces, a lot of the time the hair and makeup team will tell you to kind of embrace people at arm's length, or not let them come too close to you to either smush your dress or smush your hair or smudge your lipstick. Because some people just don't think you might have an uncle who just grabs you and doesn't realise that he's messing up your lovely updo or just smeared your lipstick on your face. So obviously you just want to keep that in mind anyway. But if we are talking about a wedding that's going on with everything that's going on at the moment, then you're probably not going to be having like embraces with loads of people. But just a note on that, like if things that are going on at the moment doesn't apply to you, like if you're getting married next year and you are hoping to be able to embrace people and stuff, I will just say that it is something I have mentioned to loads of brides in the past. But like I found that on my wedding day, I was the one grabbing people in for hugs, because at the end of the day, like yeah, I was making sure that I wasn't like wiping my face on their jacket or anything or whatever for my makeup and for their jacket's sake. But for me, like it was more important that I was enjoying the moment with my family and my friends rather than minding my blusher or whatever, you know. And similarly, like if you're afraid to kiss your new husband or your new wife for fear of messing up your lipstick or getting lipstick on them, like if that's what you want to do, just kiss them. Like it's makeup, it'll come off. You can fix it if it smears, you can wipe it off their lips. So don't let like a worry of minding your makeup and minding your hair and having to keep everything perfect all day long dictate how much you enjoy parts of your day. Because for me on the day, that's something that I realised, like I've always thought about my wedding makeup, like I'm a makeup artist, I love makeup, so my wedding makeup was a big thing for me. But what I found is on the day, like yeah, I had a powder and lipstick in a little clutch bag that I could touch up if I wanted or if I needed, but really like it's like one of the last things on your mind. You're just too busy enjoying your day. So yeah, just make sure that your enjoyment is your number one priority, and like your hair or your makeup isn't dictating anything or stopping you from doing anything you want to do. So yeah, aside from anything that would compromise health and safety, do what you want to do. And then, like as I was saying, I did have a powder and a lipstick in my clutch bag, which is a handy thing to do. And if you are traveling from your ceremony to your reception, that's a perfect time to touch up your makeup. So like for me, I touched up my makeup in the car on the way to the reception. So and we were having our pictures taken at the reception location on the grounds. So I was all touched up and ready for those. So like it could be in the car on the way to get your pictures done if you're getting it somewhere else. And then I think I just did a quick touch up then after the pictures, because I'd been outside and stuff. Just before I joined everyone for the drinks reception, and then it would be straight into the speeches and straight into the meal. And then I think that was it. Like I might have done a quick check or like a quick powder, because I am so oily, like you can probably see I'm getting shinier and shinier throughout the video. I might have done a quick powder at some stage throughout the night, like if I popped to the loo or something. But really the main thing was just touching up before we had our pictures taken, like the little photo shoot. And then after that it's just if you want or when you can or whatever. And then just before we wrap up, just 2 tips that I have for people who are having a makeup artist do their makeup. And the first is that at your trial, don't be shy if there's something that's not working for you, or even if it's just something small that you would adjust that you're maybe thinking, oh, I'll just fix that in the car when I go home. Like just say it, there's no problem at all, because that's exactly what the trial is for. And as you might be able to tell from like all the options that we spoke about, there's so many options and routes to take, so your artist will be counting on some of your feedback to make sure that you're arriving at like your ideal perfect look. Because basically our goal is to make you look and feel amazing, and if there's something that's bothering you, then they'll want to fix that for you. And then kind of on the flip side of that as well is to trust your artist. So like all the tips that I'm giving are great guidelines for you, but your makeup artist will also be able to offer their knowledge and their tips, and they'll also know the products in their kit best. So like I would know what I would reach for in my kit for certain skin types or colorings or whatever, and they'll know what they have in their kit to suit you best. So just having that balance of trusting your artist as the professional, but also making sure that you're happy at the end of the day, and that you voice your opinion and that you give them any ideas that you have in your head already. And then the final tip, and kind of a shameless plug, and that is if you're still struggling to figure out what kind of makeup look you want to go for, I have an easy 10-question quiz on my website that will help give you your overall makeup style, and you can find that at ChristineO'ConnorMUA.com/quiz. So guys, that brings us to the end of part 1. I hope it was helpful, I hope it was interesting. If you have any questions about anything at all, you can leave them in the comments, or you can pop me a message, and I will be sure to help you in any way I can. And then the next 2 videos that are coming are going to be 2 tutorials on 2 different bridal looks. And yeah, thank you so much for watching, I really appreciate it. If you enjoyed, don't forget to give a like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you on the next one. Bye guys! Fun fact, it is currently 3:20 in the morning. I've forgotten how long it takes to film things, and also because I'm out of the routine of it, it is taking me longer and I'm doing more takes and stuff, and I did start later in the day than I wanted to, but yeah, it's 3:20 in the morning and I'm still chatting away.